Welcome.
Automation, automation nation, automation, automation nation, automation, automation nation, around the nation, automation, automation nation, automation, automation nation, automation, automation nation. Around the nation, around the nation, around the nation.
Welcome to the Automation Nation podcast, the show for business leaders, tech aficionados, and those who are just simply curious about where technology and business are going. Automation Nation is your gateway to understanding automation, AI, and the future of business. Don't get left behind. Tune in now and subscribe for more. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Automation Nation podcast. I'm your host, Rob House, and my special guest, Mr. Daryl Perry, the bow-tie guy, is with me. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good. About yourself, King?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing fantastic. I know I'll be doing better after our conversation.
There we go. Let's have some fun here.
Have some fun, share some information. For those who are tuning in, wherever you watch this from, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, just leave us a like or a comment or definitely a question. We love questions because the only dumb question is the one that's not asked that you should have asked that you needed the answer to that you didn't ask so you didn't get it. Okay? Don't do that. My guest today, so on this podcast, Automation Nation, our goal is to educate people about automation, technology, and business. Because no matter what you're doing right now, this is the era for that. This is the era to get educated, whether it's on the micro level or a macro level. You need to get educated because it's going to determine whether or not you stay in business. Thank you, Esther. And it's going to determine whether or not you do good business. And doing good business actually determines whether you stay in business. Thank you, Esther. How do I fix this irritating feedback? Oh, you got feedback too? Let me check in on everybody.
It's glitchy sometimes. It is? Yeah, I mean, I don't hear it on my phone, but...
You don't hear it on your phone? Go ahead. Guys, if you're watching it, please let me know what this sounds like to you. We're trying to get a little test here.
Oh, no, I do hear it on my phone. Yeah, it's echoing.
Oh, it's echoing, huh?
We was playing with this backstage to figure it out. It sounds fine on my side on the computer, but not on the phone.
Unbelievable. Man. Well, why don't we do this, man? You give everybody a rundown on who you are, man. I'm just gonna turn this down here. Who you are, why you do what you do, and why you're giving that introduction. I'm gonna see if I can get this feedback fixed.
All right. Well, thanks again for having me, Rob. My name's Daryl Perry, aka the guy with the bow tie, prominently shown here, or also known as the Notorious BTG. I've run an insurance agency for the past 10 years now, helping small businesses figure out this thing called insurance as well as individuals. Most of the market's basically small businesses under 100 employees. We do have some larger clientele, but typically like to stay in the small market just because a lot of them don't get the help they need. I came into the insurance industry green, not knowing a thing about it. I was actually the one that was tasked with buying the insurance for the family and not knowing what I was doing. So I remember Aflac was my first company I got working with. And I'll never forget, my wife was offered Aflac at her job, and this is before I got my license and everything. And I was like, no, we don't need that, because it was a website just showing some links. and I didn't know what it was. So fast forward, I got a contract with Aflac and learned what it did, and now it's like, oh, I wish I would have had this when this happened, and X, Y, and Z. And 10 years later, still helping people figure it out. Rob, you back? I thought I heard something for a second. Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I'm in
yeah,
Georgia.
that's.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. 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 Go ahead. And where you located?
I'm in Georgia in the Cobb County area, which is like you say a suburb of Atlanta, northwest of it.
Okay. 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 And so you said that your experience 10 years. Like so.
Yep.
Tell me what you have for at least 10 years now. What's the greatest thing you say you've learned over the last 10 years in business?
In business or in insurance? Which one?
Yeah, let's go both.
Well, I guess in insurance, just how much it does. I jokingly tell people that if you look around, most of the stadiums are owned by insurance companies. So it kind of shows you there's something to it that if they own stadiums, which are pretty much the biggest structures we have besides the college maybe, but one of the biggest structures we have in the U.S. are owned by insurance companies. So just learning how much they actually did, how many hands they had in the cookie jar. As far as business, I guess the biggest thing I learned is psychology. I didn't realize how much business was psychology before getting into it. I've been a supervisor at different jobs before in leadership roles, and it was kind of, you got some psychology there, but it was very much different than when it said, hey, I'm running this thing myself, or I'm mentoring somebody, I'm teaching somebody. It showed a lot more psychology than I thought business actually was.
A whole lot more. That's interesting. A whole lot more.
Yeah, you never realize that, but it's something that's leadership, just leadership in general is a ton of psychology. But when you're an entrepreneur, you're the therapist, the coach, the mentor, the advisor, the accountant, you're everything. And you got to take care of yourself, make sure you're okay, but also acknowledge you're affecting somebody else's household. I always think about with the people on my team, when they go talk about me with their family and friends, are they saying good or bad things about me? That's kind of a thing I think about as a leader. Like, I don't want you to leave, the work day and say, that guy did this or this guy did that. So I'd rather just think about when you're at home, decompressing with your spouse, is it I can't stand him, or is it something I learned this or I got this from them? So that's kind of a big piece for me to always think about.
I like that, man. Like that. Let's talk about how businesses are being helped, man. I know you do. You cover a lot of areas, but one of the things is obviously save money and this whole thing of turnover cost. Let's talk about some strategies and examples on how you achieve this.
Yeah, well, the first thing is most businesses don't know their turnover costs. I asked that question, like, what is your turnover costing? And they're like, I don't know, something, I'm presuming. And they never actually know that. So turnover cost typically means what does it cost to hire somebody? Like, do you need to go put them on Indeed? Do you need to go find Career Builder, pay a recruiter? Whatever those costs are just for finding the person first off. Then there's the time to find them. Are you doing the recruiting? Are you doing the interviews? Are you the one making the posting on the webpage about it? And then also the actual interview itself and the time to onboard them. It might be, hey, it takes 2 hours to onboard somebody. I got to get them a uniform. I got to add them to the software, which takes another 30 minutes. So adding all that up helps you figure out your turnover costs, which a lot of owners just never do that. They kind of think it's the esoteric, nice to know, but not important. But it's kind of like if you look at your gas bill for your house or your car, you look and say, hey, man, gas is going up. I'm wasting money on gas just sitting here idle. So you start looking at those things to figure out how do I cut costs. So that's the first thing, just showing people what turnover cost is. But then reducing it basically is just what do you do to keep an employee? I always think about that phrase in the community of it's cheaper to keep her. And it's the same with employees. It's cheaper to keep an employee than to go find another one. I mean, there's places I talk to and they say, I've been looking for 6 months for somebody for this position. So it's better to have kept somebody in that seat for 6 months than having customers not serve because you can't find that person. So I always advise people, like, it's always an idea of what do you put in place to keep them. The biggest analogy I can give anybody here is the federal government. Nobody wants to work for the post office, really. Nobody really wants to work for the DMV, but they have great benefits. That's what people always say. Then the benefits are great. Nobody ever says, I just love delivering mail. There's very few people that say that. Most of them say, man, the insurance is great or the dental is great. They think about those things. So if the federal government's doing that, I kind of teach small businesses, you can reduce your turnover costs and have a 30-year employee, just like that mail person that's been coming by your house forever, if you put the right programs in place that speak to their needs off the clock. Because most owners think about when on the clock, but you got to think about off the clock impacts on the clock. And if they have a bad situation at home or with their bills and stuff like that, that comes to work. So you got to put things in place to help minimize that.
That's big. That's big. That's big. That's big. Appreciate that. Questions and folks out there. I see your responses. Thank you, Jenny, Ephraim, Estelle. How you guys doing? If you have a question, just drop it in the comments. Also, let me know how this sounds. I'm trying to make sure the sound is sounding good. Okay. And look, as we're continuing on, this podcast is powered by Simply Automate, and we have a question we ask all our guests. If you could, Daryl, if you could simply automate one thing, man, in your personal life, what would it be? One thing. Yeah.
In the personal life, let me think. So let's see. But my mind goes right to I have 4 kids, so that's another job in itself. That's why I work from home a lot as much as I can, just to kind of deal with that. So if I could automate something for the kids, it'd probably be scheduling of activities. My wife does a lot of, we homeschool 2 of our kids, and 2 of them are public school online. So the activities that come up, she'll have like, I got this thing here, I got this homeschool group here, I got these different things. And I'm usually just showing up in the house like, where are we going? Like, I don't know what's happening because I just walk in the house and it's like, we're doing this. So automating that, saying, hey, text Daryl whenever I schedule something for whatever. Like, we've done probably 6 Christmas tree lightings. Look, we've done 6 Christmas tree lightings already. It's not even barely December. We've done 6. So my wife is like, there's like a Christmas thing. She's like, we're doing it. This is our season. So I got to automate. Hey, whenever you schedule on your calendar something you want me to go to with the kids, it texts me or something, because the shared calendar, she would forget to do it. So I'm like, what can I automate for that? That would help me a ton.
That's a very shared common request right there for something to be automated, man. Very shared common request right there for something to be automated, man.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay, that's funny. So let's talk about building your own reparations, man. Okay, let's talk about what that means to you and how that relates to your work. Let's talk about what that means to you and how that relates to your work.
Yeah, so as working in insurance, I candidly say if it walks on 2 legs, most of the time I can insure it, which means life insurance is a part of that. And, studying Black history and things of that nature, reparations has always been a thing we've heard about for a long time and never happened. But in the last year or so, it's been kind of weighing on me more deeply, because I look at the way the government gives money to so many other cultures that need help. You think about Ukraine, Palestine, well, not Palestine, Israel, Chicago. Something recently happened in Chicago where there was a bus of migrant people. They bused from Florida to Chicago and just left them there. So city council voted to give them $51 million to take care of these migrants, and actually use schools that are in Black areas that have been basically deemed they can't keep them open. And those schools are now becoming a living facility for these migrant people. Now, I'm all for taking care of people, but it's kind of like at the behestment to us. Like, we don't get the same care. The Black people will be the last ones to get reparations. Every other culture gets it. So my thought is that since consumer protection came out, all things are the same for all people. You can't change life insurance based on race and creed. Underwriting can be different if you have health issues, but I can't say, hey, Rob's Black, we're going to charge him more for life insurance. It doesn't exist anymore. So my logic was, well, these majority cultures have been using life insurance for a long time to build wealth. I never forget a friend of mine asked a Korean friend of hers. She said, hey, how do you all get so, good with money in the Korean community? And she's like, well, 1, we pool our resources, but 2, we always buy life insurance for young to build it up and use it for a vehicle for cash. And this is a friend of hers, and most Korean people don't tell you, like, this is what our secret is, but she told her as a friend, this is what we do. So my thought process is like, if reparations happens, I do know how to swim, but I can't hold my breath for that long. So if it happens, great. But if it doesn't happen, what can I do proactively to build my own plan for reparation to say, even if Uncle Sam doesn't want to give me a penny, what can I do to build some right now money and some generational wealth? And that's where, if anybody here watches college football, Rob, you a football fan at all? You watch college football?
Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh
So
yeah.
Jim Harbaugh, the coach of the University of Michigan, he asked in his contract. Now, since it's a college, this is public information. I have to say is his salary. Part of his salary is $14 million in permanent life insurance. 14 million. He gets basically $2 million a year for 7 years of coaching in Michigan. So that's part of his compensation package. He didn't ask for a 401k. He didn't ask for a CD or something like that. He asked for cash value life insurance as part of his retirement package. So the only reason we know, because it's a college, is public information. But that kind of shows you, if this man has carte blanche to ask for whatever he wants for a contract, and he asked specifically for, hey, my financial people say get life insurance, that kind of shows you that obviously this is a thing that the wealthy use, but the average Joe doesn't know about and thinks it's a bill. So teaching our people how to use it, and really anybody for that matter, that's saying, I want to change my family's trajectory, I want to do something different. That's a vehicle that I will say is very powerful. It's not the end all be all, but it's definitely part of the Swiss Army knife for money that a lot of people don't take advantage of.
Yeah, that's something that's been coming up lately and recently. The insight on insurance plans, and it's something that's been around for a while, but we're just now kind of getting light on it for ourselves and for the general population. When, how is your efforts with educating folks in regards to this?
Well, I mean, part of it, like you and I both know, we're the main two guys rapping on LinkedIn. So my name, the Notorious BTG, came from a follower. So I always wear a bow tie. So she had, I think I did a song about open enrollment and nothing but an OE thing or something like that. And she's like, "Oh, you got the bars, the Notorious BTG for bow tie guy." So shout out to the follower, give me that name. That's one way to educate because it's disarming. I'm older. I got some gray hairs. I'm out here rapping, saying how many cars I got, how much money I got, and all that. I want to make an impact. So usually when I do a verse on LinkedIn, it's something fun or something about the work I do. So that's where, like, I have one I'm going to be doing about ERC, the Employee Retention Credit. I'll do a verse about that, or I'll do just something about teaching people, because edutainment is good. And I think about all these financial companies have tons of white papers and brochures and webinars, but people still don't get it. So if I can make it fun to catch your attention for a couple seconds, much like Nina Simone said about hook or crook, I'm going to teach you this so that you learn it for yourself. And you might not remember the whole verse, but you remember like one thing, like, oh, he said that thing about X, Y, and Z. So that's where I make it fun to try to show in a different angle. Because I didn't know about this stuff the first 2 years I had my license. So get this, Rob, I've been licensed 10 years. My first 2 years, I didn't know a clue about using life insurance for retirement. And I had a license. So I'm thinking, if I had a license and I didn't know, how would the average guy know?
Wow. Yeah. It's interesting because insurance agents and folks aren't necessarily taught that part.
Yeah, you kind of pick a lane. You get a lane and kind of run that lane. It's like I was in the benefit space, so in general, benefits isn't talking about wealth.
And there's something on the back of the death certificate as well, right? There's something big about that. Folks don't know about their not death certificate, the what's it called, the amount of money that's given to you when you die. It's called the death benefit. So people didn't understand the value of that death benefit at all.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I think this is where a lot of the black community got life insurance bad, because it was sold to us in a poor way, because they always sold these variable policies, and you would hear these stories of grandma had a policy and when she died it was only $4,000, because they had these variable policies that nobody taught them about. So there's a bad taste in minorities about life insurance because of that time in the 70s and 80s. But now there's more consumer protection in place to help with that, and you have so many people to choose from that I'm even part of a book called Money Talks. There's 24 of us that wrote a book about educational wealth for different people, and all of us come from an angle of, I didn't know this, let me teach you. And that's what I think we need to see more of. And social media makes it easy because we can actually go tell our story and share these stories so people understand it. Because most times people have like one bad situation they saw and they don't have anything else to kind of go off of. So we try to share, hey, this person did this person did that, to help them understand, because that death benefit is generational wealth. That's really what life insurance was first designed for, but we think about death only. So I always tell people the word's life insurance, not death insurance. So there is a part for living benefits that people don't know about typically.
Oh yeah, and that's the reason why Andrew Carnegie and his family had generational wealth for generations, and the Vanderbilts, who had more money than the Carnegies, did not, because they did not take advantage of this process you're talking about right now. It's fascinating, man. What would you say the most important things for people to know?
I guess the first thing is just options. I think about, there's people like, Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, which they're great at financial advice, but I always tell people think about who's the person presenting the information and who they work for. So, Dave Ramsey will famously say, buy a term, invest the difference. Now, 10 years doing this, people rarely do that. They'll just buy the term and keep it pushing. So that money they were supposed to invest ends up becoming discretionary income. So I say, well, don't know the options. Like, term isn't the only option. There's other ways out there. There's annuities, there's life insurance, there's IULs. There's different things out there. So I think that's the most important thing to know, because even my own father, I'm a military brat, born in Germany. And when my mom passed away 2 years ago, I asked my dad, like, hey, this is uncomfortable as your child, but hey, is your life insurance all taken care of? And he's like, oh, I don't believe in life insurance. And I was like, huh? What do you mean you don't believe in life insurance? And he's like, well, when I was 19 and I enlisted in the military, they showed me a policy that if I died in 30 years, y'all would get money, but I'm still alive. So it was a gamble. And I'm like, oh, well, Dad, they only showed you one kind. So he only saw one option. So that's all he knew was term from the military. Think about this. The federal government only showed him one option. He served for 41 years in the military. So all that time, 41 years, the largest employer in the world showed him one kind. So that's why I think about options. He only had one option. So I think back, man, if he would have known about this when I was a kid, it could have built up some cash value. He could have paid for his extra school, bought another house, all kinds of stuff he could have did, but he didn't know about it until now. So that's why I think about options. If the most important thing is to know what tools are out there, then you can decide how you want to use them.
If you don't know, now you know.
Look, Biggie right there. There you go.
Biggie, right? Hey, man, if you could automate one thing, if you could simply automate one thing in your business life, what would it be?
Um, some of it's probably the quoting process for some things. I mean, quoting, probably life insurance quoting. I'll say that, life insurance quoting, because there's some stuff out there, but it's not as intuitive as I want, because when I'm quoting life insurance for somebody, it's not just like click one thing. It's tweaking a couple things to make sure, what's the death benefit going to be? How long do you want to keep paying the policy for? When do you want to take money out of it? So there's different variables to it that take time for me, where I can't just quote you like, hey, Rob, here's your quote. I want to do my due diligence and have a few options for you. So I could just give you like one thing and move on, but I want to have a few options to say, hey, I've been doing some research on this to know what's best for you. So if there was a way to automate that, that's probably the one thing. That there's some software for life insurance, but it doesn't do that. It just says, hey, for 50 carriers with the same setting, it'll give you one printout, but not like tweaking the different variables.
That's good, man. That's good. Here's our quotable, man. Here's our quotable question. We're gonna turn this into a quote too. One nugget of wisdom you like the audience to remember about automation or business or both. It's always about automation and business, but it's all about moving business forward. So
Yeah.
impart your wisdom.
I think automation is important to just don't lose the human element. I think people get scared of the idea of automation, but it's a tool just like anything else. We've had automation ever since you had dialing into call your customer service and push one here for this and two for that. So I think as long as we understand that automation is a tool, it's not, don't replace the human element. Obviously, you and I are on LinkedIn. I'm not a big fan of automating outreach on LinkedIn. I think you should talk to somebody. You can do a little bit of automation, but at the end of the day, have some human touch, because people will buy from people all the time. The automation is a tool to help move the process faster, but do recognize that you're always going to be you, and the robot can't replace you. Oh, you're on mute.
No matter how many chat GPTs we get and how much automation we use, humanism will always be in the front. Okay,
Yeah, like I use it for
even when I
graphics
talk
and
to
stuff.
people.
I use it for some writing here and there. I've been playing with it, but I'm not going to make it my whole content strategy and say let's automate the whole thing. Like, well, then that takes away my voice because I do some goofy stuff on LinkedIn, so I really don't think I could automate all of the ways I do stuff. And that's not to say like I'm special, but I am special. I do things a special way. So
Yeah.
I don't think I could put
Mm-hmm.
Chat GPT post like Daryl would post. I don't think that's a thing.
Right. That's a big deal. Man, what's the best way for folks to reach out to you and get in touch with you? I know you can connect with Daryl here on LinkedIn or Facebook, YouTube. I'm not sure what all your channels are, but wherever you're watching this from, we'll have his information in the description. And if you're listening to this podcast, you'll also see the links to connect with Daryl. But Daryl, let folks know how they can reach out to you.
Yeah, so definitely LinkedIn's my place. I have a YouTube channel that's the same name, Notorious BTG. I do a little bit of work there. The easiest place probably one is my email. I'm the weirdo that still gives his email out to people. So thewayoflifegroup@gmail.com. That's my direct email to me, thewayoflifegroup@gmail. Or I'm also the weirdo that gives his phone number out. 678-664-8517. That is my direct number. That is not to a call center. That's straight to me, 678-664-8517. I do automate a dialer if I don't pick up, it'll text you and say, hey, I saw you called me. Text me if I don't get back to you right away. So I did automate that. So when people call me, they get a text message like, hey, he's here. He's just busy. But my email or my text message is the best way for me. And then I get around a lot online, so you'll see like this interview here, different places I'm around. I would say also for people to check out the book. It's called Money Talks with a $ for the S. Money Talks Volume 3. There's 23 of us that talked about financial education, your relationship with money, planning for the future, all kinds of different parts of money. I think it's like $8 on Amazon, super low cost, and it's a good stocking stuffer to learn something besides a PlayStation. Oh, you're on mute. StreamYard.
What's it called again? I'm on LinkedIn. I'll pull it up for you.
Oh, the book, Money Talks.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up.
Money Talks with a $ for the S.
Yeah,
Amazon
I'll put
bestseller.
that there in the comments too. You said it was 10 of you guys on there?
24.
24 authors? Okay.
Yep. So she basically everybody had a specific chapter. Mine was about benefits. We had life insurance, your relationship with money, your family's relationship with money, all different parts of wealth because we wanted to make it holistic so people can go walk away as a whole person after they read the book.
Wow. That's good stuff, man. I appreciate that. So you guys got the link, got the information. I think one of the biggest things you can extract from this conversation is learn more. Learn more. Dive deeper. Don't just take the first bit of information you have. Search around. LinkedIn is very broad. Information is out there. You just gotta seek and be diligent. And watching this show, these people that you meet, these are the folks you want to talk to. So reach out to Daryl.
For sure, and that's why my tag is have a plan, not a plea. I'd rather you have a plan for something versus you're begging for money or doing a GoFundMe.
Have a plan, not a plea. And that's the way that it'll be, ladies and gentlemen. Daryl, I appreciate you being on the show, brother.
No problem, King. I'm here for you. We got to hold down this hip hop on LinkedIn. That's most of my content. You hear some rap in the background or some kind of a hip hop influence in the commentary. So I got to keep it going, just like you do.
And I think it's time for us to come together on something, man. I don't know if we've ever officially, maybe once.
That's true. We have a university together. That's true.
Yeah. I think maybe one thing we tried, but
2024 or over the holiday. Who knows? Over the holiday, I know I got like about 4 songs in the chamber. So I'm older now, so I'm like at the Lil Wayne. I don't write it down phase because I'm too busy to write it. So I got like 4 in my head. I got to record. There's an ERC one. I'm doing one to that J. Cole and Drake first person shooter. I'm gonna do that one probably first.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about it, brother. Let's talk about it. Daryl Perry, the bow tie guy, BTG, man. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, King.
Till next time. Now let's play that. Give me my theme music. Yeah, we're on a delay, but this is how smooth we are, though. We're on a delay, but like we're just cooling. You know, it's like okay,
just hanging out.
we know there's a lag. Just hanging out.
It's okay.
It's all good.
Just hanging out.
The internet.
Some streams.
I remember the internet. I remember the internet took 20 minutes to turn on. Okay, so I'm not tripping about any of this.
Look, see, you don't got the grades. People can't tell, but people know I'm around for dial-up. Dial-up was a problem.
That's it.
That's why
All right, buddy.
Kids nowadays have no clue.
See you next time. Oh man, that's good. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you for staying through the technical tornado. And until next time, the Automation Nation podcast. We are here to enlighten, educate, elevate, motivate, so you don't have to procrastinate or feel any irritate. That's great. Until next time.